Ladies and gents, girls and boys, this is in on my Bass Hunter procurement service, and this is just a naked sound review of this beautiful Black Smoker Beta 5. Wow. So that's just dialed up, full, everything balanced. They've got these beautiful hand wound, overwound pickups, very hot in output. Tone here, and high quality components like CTS pots, so they're quite they're not the cheaper type which you can dial around much faster. They've got a little bit of resistance on them. Wow. So Black Smoker are made by a company called Black Cloud, which is a high-end maker based here in Japan. I think they're down in the Kobe area, if I'm not mistaken. Their main thing is making high-end sort of vintage instruments, vintage style instruments, I would say. They've got their original headstock shape, of course, which is very tasteful, and that's emblazoned with an embossed B for their logo. That's engraved in there, actually, not embossed. And then engraved on the back is the Black Smoker in cursive. Very classy stuff indeed. And it's got the high-end Goto tuning pegs and Goto OEM bridge with the what do we call these, spiral saddles. So it's got all these vintage this vintage look to it. The vintage white body actually has a very subtle crack effect in the lacquer. They call this slightly aged. This finish. All the hardware is slightly tarnished, dulled, and the neck plate is a kind of brush aluminium look to it. But yeah, my God, it's another one of these high-end Japanese makers. Let's go on the rear pickup with the tone halfway. Wow. Great B string, 34-inch scale, bone nut. Again, like with the other high-end Japanese makers like Dragonfly or Moon, or even Funky Junk. Just joking. But this one is just as good, actually, to be quite honest. But that's because the neck was made by a high-end maker. It's an outlet neck. It plays just as well. Doesn't maybe, the finish is nowhere near as good as this, of course. But the fretwork's perfect, just like with all these other high-end makers. Cruise Maniac, yeah. Moon, STR, Dragonfly, Atelier Z. It's all on a very high level. Perfection, you know, they're perfectionists. And this is this is wonderful. Such a responsive instrument. It's pretty good on the G string, you know. Yeah, you know, typically on the G string you get dead spots where one note is just, some notes are really short. This particular one is D. D is the short note, but you know, that's the shortest. Plays great. Front pickup, toned down. Tone up. So yeah, I mean, in conclusion, this must be a light ash body because the bass is actually not very heavy at all. It's not like my funky junk here, which is a behemoth. It's a bloody mammoth, that thing is. It's beautiful though. 5 kilograms that. This probably just about 4 kilograms. It's definitely pretty light, which is nice, and it sounds huge. You know, it's just passive, but it does have this pull switch here, which gives you series. So series is a little bit warmer and thicker, and then parallel is a little bit brighter and more brittle. So there you go. Just, you know, it's amazing stuff. These are bloody expensive. Really, this one was nearly 400,000 yen for, you know, what is just a passive jazz bass. It seems a little bit overpriced. However, when you get it in your hands, you'll realize how, you know, the craftsmanship, the quality, the perfection of the fretwork, the materials used, the way the nut is cut and everything, and the finish, and the fit too, you know, very, very accurate, tight fit. These are handmade, hand assembled and everything. It is, you know, it really is a high class piece of kit. So you know, I think it's probably, considering that you could spend easily as much or more, probably more on a Sadowski or a Capodo or something like that. It's worth it, definitely. But then again, having played like Atelier Z, you know, Atelier Z are a little bit cheaper, but I don't see them as being any better or any worse, really. They're on a par. They tend to be a little bit heavier, and they don't do this kind of finish. But yeah, it's you know, it's really a classy piece of kit, and they've got the hip shot string retainer there, which is nice. I'm not sure that it really needs a string retainer, because it seems to me that like the strings could probably just sit straight across without that much of an issue. But you know, maybe it helps just retain more tension if you want more tension. But you could just take that off and have less tension, and it'd be even easier to play than it already is, which is ridiculous. You know, yeah. So absolutely fantastic instrument. Definitely 10 out of 10 on build quality. I think the sound is great as well. I think the price is a little bit high, in my opinion, but you know, yeah, it does have this special finish, which is really, really nice. So yeah, I guess it's justified. I guess it is justified. So there you go, guys. That'll do it. Thanks very much for watching. And if you're interested in getting a black smoker, you can look them up online. You can get in touch with them. I tried to approach them to carry some of their instruments, but they never responded. And that was in Japanese. I approached them in Japanese, never responded. And the customer who's getting this, also think he said he had trouble getting correspondence from them regarding custom builds and stuff, and so on and so forth. So whether they just are too busy to bother, I don't know, but you can try it out. Or if you want to, you could use my Bass Hunter and procurement service, and I can get you one used. There are some on the used market, and they tend to go for a minimum of 200 and something like 220,000 yen minimum, and sort of average about 300,000 yen. This was nearly 400,000 yen new. So they retain their value. I know of a Black Smoker 4-string on the used market that is like 220,000 yen, something like that. This looks very nice. I know of a couple of other 5-strings as well, if anyone's interested, you know, so do let me know. But certainly great stuff, you know, up there with all the rest of the best. Cheers.